Hey guys, today I thought I'd make a different video. This is going to be covering some topics about mental health and whatnot, what I've been gone through within the past few months, and this is just an update for everybody. Also, I'm going to be going through some experiences I've had since I got diagnosed, and we'll talk a little bit about schizoaffective. So, guess I could start off by saying that, it'd be good to get diagnosed before jumping to any conclusions. I recommend that if you're feeling any of the symptoms of schizoaffective to report them to your doctor, and then see if those symptoms bear out anything. The main thing I can recommend is getting enough sleep each night. I recommend taking melatonin. I'm not a doctor, so, just take this with a grain of salt. But I think that melatonin really helps me out, and if you can get by with melatonin at night, that really helps. Anywho, getting into my story is that I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, which is basically schizophrenia mixed with bipolar. This was discovered back in 2016, so that's nearly 7 years ago. 7 years. I don't really do math that much, so forgive me. But anyway, basically, what happened was, it was during the spring of 2016 that I started noticing that I was feeling really awesome. Had these really high highs, and I also was having some really low lows. And then I was also noticing this sense of grandioseness. I was feeling grandiose. I was feeling low at times, but not to the point of suicide, at least not until we get to that point in this story, in my story. So 2016 was a hard year. I had just moved schools from the school that my dad was formerly teaching at, and then I had to go to Bel Air High School instead of going to Havre de Grace, which was a culture shock in itself, as well as take higher level classes. I took honors English 2, and as well as honors biology, which I don't know why. I don't really know why. I really needed to take that, but anywho, as well as AP World History. Those 3 classes really weighed me down. It was a lot of work trying to get through that, and it was really hard. So, yeah, a lot of stress on me. Eventually, I had a psychotic break in about April or so. I think it was around April, around springtime. So I went on a walk outside. I thought that war was coming, and that I needed to warn everybody, and somehow I was going to save everybody somehow. It was very strange. I even walked to close to a school near my house, and then I walked to another school, broke and entered, which wasn't a good idea at all. And yeah, I ended up writing some weird cryptic things, and the next day, I took another walk back to that school and had a talk with a few people there. Eventually, I wrote an apology letter, and I was like, yeah, sorry I did this. I sort of did it in jest, but still, I wasn't myself. I was nowhere near what I should have been. And, it could have been better, but had I been diagnosed at that point, but that comes a little later. Eventually, one day I was at school, and I went to the office, and the person in the office asked me, "Hey, do you think you're safe?" And all those questions are, you think you're gonna hurt other people, or are you gonna hurt yourself? And so eventually I answered that I felt like hurting other people, and although I wasn't completely sure about that. And they took me out of the school, and they actually put me in handcuffs. Can't believe they did that. It's kind of ridiculous. And escorted me out through the back of the school, and I went into the hospital, the local hospital, and eventually they transferred me to Shepherd Pratt. And so after getting transferred to Shepherd Pratt, I spent a few days there. They eventually asked me some questions like, was I hearing voices? I said yes, but eventually I told them actually I wasn't. But that gave them a clue as to the symptoms that I was going through. It made sense that these symptoms lined up with schizoaffective, so they labeled me under that. And that's pretty much the story of how I got that label. I started taking Abilify and noticed a little bit of weight gain. And a few months later, I wasn't feeling so great. So we went to the ER, and eventually my doctor recommended that I be put on antidepressant as well as an antipsychotic. So I got put on Wellbutrin, and I noticed a little bit of weight gain then, but not much. Went from 160 to 180 pounds. And then a few years went by, about 4 or 5 years or so, until about near the end of 2021 in December. I wasn't feeling great. I just was overworked. Wasn't saving my money. Still don't to this day, but I wish I had some more money. Always wish that. But anyway, I was spending all my money. I eventually went into the Johns Hopkins Meyer 5, and I spent a good half of that year there, as well as the beginning of 2022. I spent at the hospital. I got out after about 2 weeks of the first bit. Went on a walk with Dad outside, feeling okay, but eventually it got to me because I wasn't taking the antipsychotics. They weren't prescribing that to me. They were just prescribing me a shot, which was the Risperdal Microspheres. And then eventually I ended up back in the hospital, and I went through some therapy, and eventually I came out about 200 pounds or so. And, you know, and I was maybe 210. I think I was at 210 then. And after a while, they stabilized my medicine, my doctors and whatnot. So thank you to my doctors and my therapist. My therapists really helped me through this. All the Johns Hopkins staff really helped me. They were a really good help to me when I was going through this personal moment of crisis. They really helped me out. And so eventually I got out of the hospital in about, I think it was around May of 2022. And I've been fine since then. Been taking the microspheres, Risperdal, and they switched me over to Effexor. So I'm taking Effexor as my antidepressant, Risperdal as my antipsychotic, and Risperdal microspheres as the other thing. I also take melatonin, 10 milligrams a night, around 8 to 10 o'clock usually, in the evening. And then in the morning I also take a vitamin D supplement, and that seems to help things a lot. Especially going through these winter months is really helping me out. But that's pretty much the story. My story and how I've been dealing with my schizoaffective. Of course, I could work on my spending habits. That's the main thing that's getting at me right now. I need to also consult with disability. That way I can get some steady income and eventually be able to move out of my parents' house. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, or at least learned something from my experience. I'll go over a few other things before we end this. Basic symptoms of schizophrenia, is hearing voices, seeing shadows, seeing distortions, visual distortions. Usually the visual symptoms aren't as common as the auditory symptoms. Usually it's hearing voices or internal voices, or which I haven't really heard anything, which is a blessing. And there's also auditory glitches that some people hear. So, that can be a thing. Also with the bipolar, mood has to be stabilized. Otherwise, it goes from low all the way to really high, and then it can go right back down very dramatically quickly. And it can be a whole roller coaster. So taking my Effexor really helps with that and the bipolar symptoms. Yeah. There's also some negative symptoms of schizophrenia that I have, like not thinking in a logical, clear direction. It's more tangents loosely connected together. So I've been trying to work on making sure that one thing flows to the next thing like it should, instead of being tangents connected together. Like a conversation, thinking about things like a conversation rather than thinking about things logically. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people struggle with that, so I bet I'm not alone. Anywho, there's that. now I'm at like 230 pounds. So the schizophrenia meds have really bulked on weight on me. I've been eating sort of like a pig, so that's kind of a reason why I've gained weight. So, that's life. C'est la vie. But yeah, if you're experiencing any of the positive or negative symptoms of schizophrenia or bipolar, I'd really recommend going to talk to your doctor. If you getting in touch with a doctor and asking them, hey, do I have this? Can we treat this? How can we deal with this? Do we need to resort to medications, or can we do this without? Usually with bipolar, it's not a good idea to be off medication. And it's especially not a good idea to stop medication cold turkey. It can really screw with you. So whenever you're thinking, oh, I don't need my medication, I could do fine. But no, it's not a good idea to go off on cold turkey. It'll wreck you. Also, smoking marijuana is not a good idea on these medications. If you smoke marijuana while taking these medications, it can kill you. I'm not even joking. It can kill you, or it can lead you to hearing more voices, activating your schizophrenia, making you more paranoid. It's just not a good idea to smoke marijuana or ingest it. Edibles especially, even more so than smoking. They're more concentrated. So yeah, for me, I'm staying away from THC and marijuana, as well as mushrooms and anything hallucinogenic, because that could trigger my schizoaffective to be worse. Hope you guys found this video informative. Leave a like, comment. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.